Stop.
Okay, it told me.
Recordings in progress.
Progress.
Progress. Hey, dude, how are you?
Hello, Mr. DeStefano.
It's good to see you.
It's nice to meet you.
I haven't seen you in such a. I like that my reflection is in your glasses.
I know.
That's
it's like
good.
Dr. Strangelove or something.
Totally. It's it's really Kubrick. And they said this wasn't going to be stupid. This is going to be stupid for a visual medium, but here we are being visual and everything. So I'm wearing a tank top because it's too hot.
I'm wearing a button-up shirt because I was at work and I wanted to look nice.
Oh, I don't care about looking nice.
I know. Well, no, because at work I wanted.
Oh, you want to look nice at work.
Yeah, because I was exhausted.
I got
so
you.
I felt like, dressed to impress myself.
Sure. We were out late watching the Fantastic Four.
I heard about it.
Yeah, I
didn't even catch you snoring. That was good.
I know. No, you're thinking of Karen. That's Karen.
That's true.
That.
Yeah.
That's not me. That's the other one.
Yeah.
So
What's up?
so I wanted to. So we've known each other a long time, and I just want to have conversations. I'm not like I said. I'm not going to be all Merv Griffin with you because that'd be stupid. But the thing is, I realize we talk all the time. We have amazing friends, and our amazing friends are like some of the most talented people in the comic book cartooning business
on the planet.
Practically.
I'm not kidding.
It's true. It's true. We know some really impressive people. So I figured, let me start talking to everybody and let me start getting down our conversations. And a lot of times our conversations are brilliant. A lot of times they're really, really infantile and stupid, but they're never dull, I think.
Yeah. No.
Oh.
Yeah.
They are, or they're not.
No, never.
No, never. The other thing I wanted to say is that we know each other. I think you were 17 when I first met you. Were you 17 when you were working for Badger?
Yeah.
So I must have been like 19 or 20 or something.
Yeah.
And it just finished Amazing Man, I think. The first run Amazing Man.
Yeah. Well, I think this, but I actually met you before that when you were doing Amazing Man at a convention when I was 16.
You might have told me that, but I don't remember.
Oh, I wish I should have grabbed it out of storage. I have the sketch you did for me.
Don't.
Yeah. I'm gonna put it on the internet.
No, you don't want to show that. That's not a good idea. Everybody's gonna.
You were sitting. You remember because you were sitting next to Dan Jurgens.
I do remember.
And across the room from Barry Windsor Smith.
All I remember is that's where I met Terry Austin, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then also that day, I impersonated John Byrne, and some fan believed me. And he got really irate when he found out that I wasn't John Byrne, and I felt really kind of bad. But anyway, I
love that. I didn't know that.
We've known each other a long time, and the thing is like I call Robbie and I call each other dude because we've known each other that long. We were roommates in Los Angeles. We know each other since when we're practically teenagers. So we're dude because there was a stupid comedy bit that we saw.
Right.
That we thought was hilarious. Dude. You blew it. Dude. Like that. That's I think that's Rob Snyder's joke. So that's the first thing. Second thing is I'm showing everybody my shoulders and my tattoo and my hairy.
That's a nice tattoo.
Yeah, thanks. I knew it. And but the other thing is I realized I have my questions. Because I am kind of Merv Griffin-y today. So,
I think you're more like a combination of Mike Douglas and Dinah Shore.
I am Mike Douglas and Dinah Shore both rolled into one.
Right.
You should have seen Dinah Shore's hairy shoulders. It was really sad.
She had a great tattoo.
She had a nice tattoo, boy. That's why Burt Reynolds fell in love with her. Um,
That's right.
but well, first of all, the first thing I wanted to ask, but you don't have to say, you don't have to tell it if you don't want to.
Okay.
But you have two of the best childhood comic book related stories ever.
Oh,
The first one being about the New Gods,
oh, the New Gods.
and
Yeah.
the second one being about
Oh,
the Swamp Thing
Swamp
movie.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but why don't you? So, but the New Gods, and then let's give it context so we make it like it's educational or interesting to people,
Yeah.
and not
For the
just
kids.
hilarious to us.
Right.
But what's your, tell
So the
your,
New Gods, I was, I think like 14 years old. No, I was younger than that. I was 12.
yeah, see, I feel like
Yeah.
this actually has more to do with more with you.
Yeah. 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 Because I was pretty young. I'd been collecting comics for maybe a year or two. And here, I'll give it a little background.
Okay,
So just so it makes sense. So my first job I ever worked at was there were no comic book stores. I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio,
right,
and there that just didn't exist. But there was a bookstore called Baker Street Books that he sold back issue comic books, which as a young kid was exciting because there really wasn't any way to get older stuff.
sure.
So I convinced my parents to let me go after soccer games to work on a Saturday afternoon to bag the comics for 10 cents a piece,
Oh
which
wow,
basically just ended up in me getting it in trade and buying back issue comics. So
right,
I was, that's when John Byrne was just starting his X-Men run, and Frank was doing Daredevil, and like it was very exciting time, to be into comics. But
sure.
then I would venture out and get some other things sometimes just to test the waters. And at some point, I got New Gods. Number 3, I think, was the first one as a back issue.
Do you remember the cover?
Uh, it might have been 2 or 3. It wasn't number 1. It might have been. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I just remember I knew about Kirby. I mean, I'd read some of the classic stuff from earlier than that
Where had you seen that?
in the compendium books from
Oh, okay.
Marvel, Marvel's greatest heroes, villains, all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and probably some like Marvel triple actions, or like
Yeah,
reprints from the 70s of the
those were
earlier
great.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I love those things. So I was curious. I love, I thought Kirby was cool. I got that it was a thing, but nothing prepared me for the New Gods. So I took it home, and I'm reading Green Lantern and the X-Men, and then I pull out the New Gods, and it blew my mind in such a way as a young kid that it just terrified me. But I knew it was important. So I had a bedside table with a drawer in it that I kept important things in. And I
Yeah.
was like, I'm putting this in the drawer for later. Sometime I'm gonna figure out what this is, but right now my little brain can't comprehend Jack
Right.
Kirby in the 70s.
Right. And when did you take it out eventually, or did you?
Wow, that's a good question. I don't think I did. I think I kind of like let it sit there, and I'd poke, I'd kind of peek at it every once in a while, but I don't think I really came into that stuff until we moved. So like we moved
To New Jersey.
to New Jersey like a couple of years later, and by that point I was, well, no, okay, it must have been before that. So I got really into Cerebus right
Oh,
before
okay.
we moved. So like, or when I was 14, 15. So it probably took a couple of years, but by that point I was sophisticated and buying.
Sure.
I remember there was a like an indoor flea market, and there was a guy that sold back issue comics, And
flea markets back then were great. You could
oh
really get
man,
amazing shit for like not that much money.
no, it was crazy. Except there was like the Overstreet guides had come out,
Oh,
and
right, right,
people were
right.
starting to kind of be collectory, and so some of these guys were selling stuff. As a kid, it was expensive. I mean, they were probably like
Yeah,
$7 or $8,
yeah.
but still, that, I was like, oh my god. But you'd save up every once in a while and buy something. But I remember that's where I got some early issues of Cerebus, and also the first uh ElfQuest comic,
Oh,
which
okay.
was like in a different thing and had a Dave Sim backup story. I can't remember what it was
Yeah,
called, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember paying $10 for that and thinking like, this is really expensive. It's got to be good.
yeah. Man, I remember
Yeah.
seeing a Golden Age Captain America comic for $100 in
Right.
mint condition at some convention in Valley Stream when I was like 10 or something. I thought that was like outrageous.
Like a
Like,
gold bar.
yeah, 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 yeah. It
Yeah.
was that was just insane. But what's your tell us your but then on the flip side, no, the thing I love about that story, like I love the other story, is because you just have these great stories where you have really, really visceral um reactions or needs as a child, but a lot of children do. It's just that you
Yeah.
have two of the two really great comic book visceral need stories. It reminds me of that Maurice Sendak story where he got, he wrote a 5-year-old wrote him a letter, a fan letter, and he wrote the kid back, and then the mother wrote back to Maurice Sendak saying like he loved it so much he ate it.
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's
That's
like
yeah.
there's so much you have it's so powerful an experience. The only way you have to get over it somehow, and you have
Yeah,
to do
it really it like, I don't know if anybody listening to this or watching can understand, but it really was this incredible feeling of like, what the fuck is this? It it doesn't make any sense, but it I knew that it was incredibly important,
right.
you
I
know?
mean, anybody who's is with us right now probably loves Jack too,
Yeah,
or they're idiots. But the best thing is your reaction. It's like it's
I'm
like
gonna
some
put it away.
yeah, you got to put it away. It's just too much for you, and I'll put it away until like I'm ready for it or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But you had to keep it near you. You didn't put it like in the closet or
No,
something.
no, it was literally in, I could reach over and grab it at any time, but I didn't, like
Yeah,
I said, I would peek at it every once in a while. I'd be like, nah, I'm not ready yet. But it's
yeah.
there.
You got to be
Yeah, it
ready for
was,
these
yeah.
ads.
So, all right. So I'll tell you
Yeah, this is the other best comic
the
book
other
story.
second first best story is, I was really into Swamp Thing, and I loved Bernie Wrightson, and so I started buying the newer the book
Right.
in
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah. This is
80s,
Tom
right?
Yates is drawing it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
This is before Alan Moore and Steve
right
Buscemi.
before Alan Moore, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I don't know why, but I just was obsessed with it. It was such a interesting, unique character, and the movie came out, and I was really
Yeah.
excited about it. And my parents didn't want to take me; they didn't want to go, and I was adamantly gonna go see the Swamp Thing movie.
How
But
old were you?
I was probably I was probably 13 or 14.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess we could look up the year and figure it out. But yeah, I
Right,
mean, I
right,
was
right.
young,
Right.
but I got it into my head that I would just drive to the movie theater. Now, first of all, I had never been behind a wheel. I had no money. I
You
didn't
had
know
no
how
driver's
I had
license.
no driver's license. There was literally no rhyme or reason to this plan. But I was mad at my mom. I said, I'm gonna drive to the best part is, my younger brother Adam, I was
This
like,
is the best
Adam,
part.
Adam, come on, we're going to the Swamp Thing movie. And Adam is 3 years younger than me, so he's a little tyke. And
Yeah.
he's like, okay. So he gets in the back seat. I
Yeah.
steal my mom's keys. And I turn the engine on, and my mom comes out and gives me the ultimate mom look from the doorway. And it just shot through me, and I was like, "Oh, this is a really terrible idea." I got in so much trouble, but I mean, I think we've asked Adam why he got in the car, and I don't think he remembers. But I can't imagine what that little kid was. I mean, I guess he just looked up to me and thought, like, "Oh, Robbie's got this spirit. He's just
Robbie's
we're
got
gonna
this.
go." Yeah.
No, again, it's like I don't know what was going through Adam's mind, but like I'm more interested in like what were you thinking? Like, yeah, you could just take the keys and take your mom's car to see Swamp Thing. You know, it's
it
just
was wild.
But you had that like child logic that things would
Had that child logic. Yeah, it was really crazy. It must. I think Adrienne Barbeau just mesmerized me or
that
something.
they probably a lot of
Yeah.
people, I think.
Yeah.
That's understandable. So how did you was like Swamp Thing to because you had one of the best, you probably still do, one of the best underground and alternative comics collections. I mean, you collected a lot of shit over the years, but how did you progress? Because I think about this myself sometimes. I can't remember how I like thought all of it from reading, Steve Englehart comics to reading R. Crumb.
Right.
Like, I don't quite remember how I made that leap. So it was like Swamp Thing, ElfQuest.
Yeah, Cerebus. I think it was that. I mean, I really think it was ElfQuest and Cerebus that kind of led me. But I think there was something about Swamp Thing that, I mean, obviously it's not underground, but there was something a little bit alternative with that. And also like Howard the Duck too, stuff that I liked, stuff that was weird and like maybe not even super popular at the time that I was reading it, because I was getting most of that stuff as back issues, like so. And I guess I mean, I don't know if anybody knows much about me, but I'm also a DJ and a record collector. I have a record store, and so I have this innate desire and pretty good knack for digging for things.
You do. I have seen this.
Yeah.
We've actually gone into
death traps.
Death traps. Me more interested, I think, in the death trap than the records, but I've seen Robbie go into literal death traps to get records.
We went one time, Steven and I'd been going to a record dealer in Maryland who got busted by the feds for bootlegging doo-wop records, and I couldn't get in touch with him. He had this huge place which had a big barn in the back, and I finally was able to get in touch with his brother one day, and he said, "Oh, we're closed." And I was like, "Oh, really? I wanted to check some stuff." He's like, "If you come right now, you can grab whatever you want for $100." And I was like, "What?" He's like, we're closing." So Steven and I drove over there, and the guy was, and I took crates and crates of stuff, but I begged him for like an hour to go into the back, and he said, "You can't go back there because during the last winter, the snow was so heavy it caved the roof in." The roof is only being held up by these massive shelves, which are teetering. So finally, I don't know why he allowed us to go back there. And at some point, I grabbed a stack of records from kind of a far distance, and we both heard like this massive groan, and we were like, "Okay, this is it."
I don't remember that. I just remember, I don't know. I don't feel like I mean, it was weird. It was a weird situation, but I never felt like we were, I don't know, maybe we're stupid. I never felt like we were in danger necessarily. We probably were.
There was a point, like I said, there was a point where I think I hit something that was maybe a little structural, and I knew like I can't keep going that direction.
Right. You shouldn't have taken that last copy of Rumors. That probably was it.
Yeah, I
Gee,
know.
that could have killed
That
us.
that
No,
was that
but
would have, yeah. But
oh,
anyway, so yeah, so anyway, I love digging for stuff, and I
you
think
do,
that
yeah.
as a young kid, I got into that mentality of finding the weird shit in the world. And so through that path of like maybe a little bit more oddball mainstream stuff, finding undergrounds. But I don't think I remember seeing Zap and some of the Crumb stuff. I don't.
But when I say undergrounds, like you went like I mean
Oh, I
like
went crazy. Yeah.
French underground and shit.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Like you were looking
that
for
was
beyond esoteric. You weren't just looking for undergrounds. You were looking for like the stuff beyond that.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean,
And then you the
that was
first
all after I moved though, because I had way more access in New York and North Jersey to
right.
that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but I already had a penchant for it and a desire to find more. But yeah, I mean, and then Badger. So I in high school, I I met Mark Badger at a
The great Mark
convention.
Badger.
Yeah, the great Mark Badger,
The great.
and I loved his work, and we, we I think we had, we became friends,
Yeah.
and then after a little while, he asked if I wanted to be his assistant, and I was like, yeah, that would be cool. So I became Mark's assistant, and he really introduced me to the French stuff. I mean, I was already reading heavy metal and knew Mobius and some of the stuff. I always, as much as I love guys that render, the hell out of something, I'm way more of a cartoony, cartoon. I'm a cartoonist. I love
Right.
round shapes and exaggeration on a different level.
You do, but you also like pointy shapes. You love
I I do. I like pointy shapes.
Marisol?
Mariscal. Yeah, yeah.
Mariscal.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
Pretty
mean,
pointy.
yeah, he's pointy and sketchy. I mean, I do. I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think I was always more drawn to the cartoony stuff, and
Right.
I guess that's where, Crumb kind of fits, because it was at that point I was also getting way into old comics from the, newspaper strips from the 20s and 30s,
Right.
and that,
Put him
yeah,
in your top drawer,
that's, yeah.
jamming
Oh my
him in
God.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's back up though,
Yeah.
because I actually don't know this. I don't. I mean, as long as I've known you, like, how did you? It's a kind of a stupid question, but how did you start? Like, you know, how did you start? Not just drawing though. I mean, you were like all over the place.
Yeah.
You were interested in music. You wanted to do music. You were
Right.
interested in records. You were interested in bands. So it was all like one big thing. How did that evolve? Go, were you drawing like like as long as you can remember? Like
I was always drawing. I was in little art competitions in grade school that, I remember winning something at the firehouse, for some, probably like, I don't know, third grade, fourth grade, something like that. But
firehouse.
I don't know why. I mean, we were in Finneytown, Ohio, it was not the height of the art world. They had an art show at the
Drew,
firehouse.
he drew a great fire.
I drew great fire. But yeah, I mean, I always loved drawing, and I always loved writing. I was like a voracious
Yeah,
reader.
yeah.
So I actually probably thought I was going to be a writer first. And I remember, I think it was first grade or second grade, we had an assignment to write a book, like a little thing, and I probably still have it somewhere. But the funny thing was, I wasn't confident enough to draw it, so I had this girl draw it. But it was a book about a mouse, and I wrote
Huh.
this little kid's book, and I'm sure it's terrible. I don't know what the influence was, but yeah. So I loved writing, I loved drawing, and and my parents are musical theater people, so there was always
Right.
that kind of music in the house, and fairly typical, suburban style music around until I was old enough to make my own decisions and realize that there was better music. Not that I mean, I love musical theater, but in terms of the things I wanted to listen to, we moved when I was 15 to North Jersey, which was for me the perfect age. Like I'd heard similar to the New Gods. I remember staying up really late to catch the alternative punk station on the radio and hearing the Clash and Devo, and Devo really like was almost like Kirby to me. It was like, I don't know
Yeah.
what the hell this is. It's terrifying, but I love
Yeah.
it. And
I
I
had the
know,
same reaction to Devo. It
yeah,
frightened me.
it,
It frightened me.
I mean, it's still frightening if you actually
It
take it
still does
apart.
frighten me. It's funny though. It's weird. Like the difference between us is it's weird. Like some things I'll get scared of and I'll just reject them, kind of like Devo. And
Right.
then some things I'll get scared of, like I can't think of a thing I got scared of as a kid, but probably as a kid I just didn't take to it. But as I got older, like, and I learned like this stuff wasn't going to kill you. I enjoyed getting scared, and I liked being
Right. Right.
challenged and creeped out at the same in a good way, at the same time. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because, like, as long as we've known each other, I mean, especially back in the day, I'd be like, "Hey, Steven, we're gonna go to this thing," and you're like, "Okay, let's go." I mean, you were always game to do something, even if you didn't know what it was, or
That's true. And actually, the best things we ever went to were like just the most fucked up ones.
yeah,
Like not horrifically fucked up, but
no,
like
no,
Free Kitten was amazing. Was like the best thing I ever saw.
yeah, it
You
was
know?
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, Free
yeah,
Kitten. I was trying to explain Free Kitten to someone the other day. It's just like it's like a Sonic Youth offshoot where they're just it's a lot of noise and then there's like growling or
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah, kind of, yeah,
It's really cool.
yeah. It was amazing.
Those
Yeah,
are the
yeah.
days. There's probably stuff. Maybe there's stuff like that today. I wouldn't know,
Oh,
but
there
like,
is. I mean,
yeah.
it's, kids
But it
are
was
always
cool
gonna
because
make
it
fucked
was
up shit.
us. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess I love diving headfirst into stuff that scares me, so I definitely sort of, even as a young kid, like I would be attracted to that kind of thing,
Right,
and
right. I was, but
luckily,
I was turned off
right,
too at the
right,
same time.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know what it was, but yeah, um, I'm trying to think of so I guess the music stuff, I don't even know what I was listening to, but I asked my dad to teach me how to play guitar when I was probably 14, and my hands were too small and I couldn't make it work.
Yeah.
So I put it away. I just said I can't do this. And then when we moved, like a year or two later, I asked him again, and he did the same thing. He showed me how to play a couple chords and gave me a book and said, "Go upstairs and learn this, and then we can practice next week on something." So I took the book. I learned every chord that day. I just practiced it. I went down. I mean, I wasn't good at it, but I could play, 8 chords or something. And he was like, "Well, I don't really have anything else to teach you." So then I just started listening to records. And luckily, our friend Greg, I met Gregory Benton in
Benny.
10th grade,
Right.
and we became pretty quick friends. And he was the only other kid who wanted to make comics. And so we did that, but he was also just starting. He'd been playing guitar a little bit, and so we kind of got together and just pushed each other and taught each other and played and drew and made comics. And I mean,
Right.
a lot of our my early sort of growth, I think, came from working with Greg, and us pushing each other to do better. And he had a very similar sort of appetite for weird shit and sounds. And, I think like we really matched up well on that because, you know, I sort of felt he was always, I sort of fell into the inking role with him. He was always the one drawing the comics and I would
He
ink
was
them,
the
and
penciler?
he was penciling. Yeah.
Oh, he was the penciler and you were the inker.
I was the
Wow.
inker. Yeah.
Wow.
And then because my own drawings, I was a little lost. I mean, I I guess I wouldn't say I'm still lost. I still feel like I can grow sometimes drawing, but
Well,
I
I don't
feel
know. I
like a
mean,
few
if you
years ago I figured something out, in a way that I'd never felt comfortable before. And that was really cool, but it took a
Yeah,
lot of
well,
work.
yeah, I mean, it just takes I mean, unless you're growing, you're dying. So like,
Yeah,
I
sure.
mean, everybody that's good is still growing,
Yeah,
or
you
they
have
should
to.
be. Yeah, and yeah, but
But
you do enough drawings, like you get,
yeah,
a lot of mileage under your
yeah,
fingers,
yeah.
and
I mean,
then,
that's it.
it starts to make sense.
Yeah, but as a kid, I didn't know. I mean,
Right.
I loved, I loved Bernie and Jeff Jones, and and I loved doing watercolor. So I thought I was gonna kind of be like, I made friends with George Pratt and Kent Williams and Mark Chiarello, and um, so I thought I was gonna fall into that group,
Right.
and but there was something in me that really was pushing against that style of sort of fantastical kind of, I don't know, it's not realism, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah, so by this point, you're working for Badger, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
And
mean, I
you and I
just,
were hanging out, and I mean the other two boneheads who we haven't mentioned yet are Kyle Baker
well,
and
this is what I want to get to.
okay, yeah,
So I would say from my point of view, as far as I remember, Robbie seemed pretty instrumental. Mark Badger, Kyle Baker, Evan Dorkin, Robbie, and I were instant piano
yeah,
for a long time, despite the fact
a
that
long
like
time.
there's only 4 issues of it. But we were doing it. We were working on it for a long time.
Yeah.
Like probably like in 1989 or something,
Oh yeah.
maybe.
Yeah,
And like, what
definitely.
did it come out in, like 90? No, it probably came out in 96. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, it seemed to me Robbie was instrumental because Robbie knew everybody. Robbie knew, I mean, I sort of kind of knew Kyle. I knew Kyle a bit, and
Right.
I knew Mark, and I knew Robbie, but I'd never met Evan. Um, and the first anybody that's ever met Evan for the first time, Evan's very, very, very dear person to me. But it's a little surprising. It takes you back
It's
a little bit.
impactful.
It's impactful. Yes, it has impact. And so, but it was great, and we all
Yeah.
belonged. But
Yeah.
they all, it's as far as I mean, maybe it was Badger. Maybe it was you and Badger. I
So
don't know.
here's the story. I'm sticking to this.
Yeah.
I think Mark would agree. So what happened was Mark was a real lefty, or
Right.
he really believed in worker rights, and he was trying to get a union together of comic
Right.
book artists.
Right.
And so he held one meeting that had a bunch of different guys, sort of most of them on the fringes of the superhero realm. I remember
Right.
Paris Cullen was there. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure Kyle was there.
Was this at Kyle's place?
No, no,
Or we
this
did
was
a do there was a thing at Kyle's place at one
there
point.
were two meetings. So the first meeting had too many people and like nobody could really agree on anything is my memory is, or not agree on anything, but it didn't really shape up into anything. There was
Mm,
just too many different agendas, I think. And and then there was another meeting and it just seemed like it wasn't really working. I think Mark was frustrated. And the thing that I saw was that Mark, you, Kyle, and me had a pretty similar idea about what we wanted to do in comics, you know, which was not not completely underground, definitely humor based,
Right.
but something off to the side, something fringe and not mainstream, right?
Right. Right.
And I had met Evan when I was in high school at a convention, and Evan and I had become friends, and he was doing some work. He was starting to gain some popularity. But he wasn't known, but he was the one person I thought would really fit that mix of people because it was kind of punk rock, you know? It
Didn't
was
he?
like,
Didn't he have like a few issues of Pirate Core at least under his
yeah,
belt?
Pirate Core for sure. Yeah, he'd done
Yeah.
Pirate
Yeah.
Core and Phantasm or
Wow.
something. I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah, there was something before Pirate Core.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That I
But
don't know. I'll have to talk to Evan.
yeah, he was just this. I mean, I loved Evan. He was so much fun. We had insane times together, and we
He
used to
was.
hang out all the time. And I just thought this guy, I think, is going to be the missing part of this group. And
So you brought Evan in.
I brought Evan in, yeah.
So I don't think
And
Badger
then
knew
so
Evan.
no.
And
So
Kyle didn't. Did Kyle know Evan?
no, nobody knew Evan.
I didn't know Evan.
No.
Yeah.
So the thing was, I talked to Mark and I said, look, I think your idea is great, but I think we need to limit it to a group, like to us. And I said, uh let's just all the five of us should get together and see what happens. And it wasn't called anything. It was just five guys who kind of had similar ideas about comics
Hanging out in the East
in the
Village
East Village. Yeah,
at
but we
Benny's
hung out
Burritos. Yeah.
like every day for years. I mean, like we would go to concerts together. We would eat. I mean, you know, it was a little, I mean, so like I ended up assisting Kyle on a bunch of stuff
Right.
and you and I were talking about different characters and working on comics and I don't know what the hell Mark was doing, but he was doing his Mark thing. He was
Right.
just trying to
I mean,
he was trying
actually,
to deconstruct comics, I think, was his
right.
whole.
And Mark was tight for a long time, but then he met his future wife, Martha
Right.
Breen. And so
Yeah.
he left us.
Right.
He was the first to leave
New
the
York.
house.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I remember, I don't know how far in it was, but I know we didn't have a name or like a
Right.
specific group. There were definitely other well-known cartoonists that wanted to be part of our group, and we kind of just locked the door because we felt like
I don't remember that. I mean, I remember it like kind of afterwards, but I remember it like I don't know. Yeah, we did seem to like
it was pretty insular. Yeah.
circle the
Yeah.
wagons and
Yeah.
stuff.
I think I don't know about you, but I always felt like we were onto something. We kind of knew we were onto something, and it just felt like that was the group that was gonna do this thing.
Yeah, I mean, we were the five idiots who would hang
Yeah,
out
we were
and
the
Benny's burritos all the time, or go to Kyle's like all
yeah,
the
yeah.
time. But yeah, yeah. So,
So
but
then what?
it did seem like there was like a focus, like we were gonna do something. We wanted to,
Yeah,
the five of us wanted to do something. I think we were someplace in the East Village.
we were at 7B.
Seven? No. Was it?
Yeah,
Or
it
what was
was.
that? Sidewalks. What was that restaurant?
It was well, sidewalk. We hung out at sidewalks a lot, but the night we came up with the name was at 7B.
Right. So we were rifling through
The
the New
New
York
York Press.
Press
Yeah,
or whatever, and we never
yeah.
thought to invite Mark Newgarden as a member of Instant Piano. Not that he would have, he wisely would have turned us down anyway. But yeah. So we were flipping through the New York Press, and we saw an ad that we thought was hilarious, which was just said Instant Piano.
Yeah,
And then we were off and
that
running to
was
the
it.
races. And
Yeah,
then like 12 years later, we actually came out with a book.
right. Yeah,
No, it was probably like five or
I
six
think
years
it
later.
was 7.
maybe 7, but it was all worth it. And there, people may not know this, but there's actually there's issue 0, which has
Yeah,
never seen the light of day, as far as
no,
I know. Who
yeah,
has
no.
that?
I
You have a
have one.
copy.
Yeah, I have one.
All right, everybody should write to Robbie, and he'll make you.
I will mimeograph them
He will
for you.
mimeograph them. Oh, there's not a day goes by that I don't think of like the mini comics that we made. Robbie was a genius at this. Is probably it seemed genius to me. Probably lots of other people were doing it, but like there were color Xerox machines back then. It had black, red, and blue, and you could make some cool shit. We made some
Yeah,
cool shit. Robbie was the first person I know also that got into mini comics. I didn't even know what that was, but I still have a small collection of mini comics because they were cool. They were really
they
fucked
were
up.
so cool. I mean, that was like it was like as punk as you could get. I mean,
It was
literally, it was
totally
just
punk.
doing it yourself
I
at the
mean,
Kinkos.
yeah, 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 and that's
Yeah,
what we did.
yeah. And then I
Well,
think moving, you know, I'd already been buying some things, and I think I met Sam Henderson at a
right,
party at Bob Sikoriak's loft.
right.
And that might have been the first person I knew who was making mini comics. And Mike Rex too. And but then I moved uh, after a couple of years, everyone moved to California for some
Pretty much,
reason.
except for
Yeah,
Evan, everyone moved to
yeah,
California.
yeah. We
That's
couldn't
right.
get Evan out of New York ever. But
No,
then after a little while I moved up to San Francisco, and there was a big scene up there.
yeah,
And I made friends with some of those people.
and some of
And
those are really beautiful comics
oh,
too. Like
they're
just really,
amazing. Yeah.
really gorgeous little
Yeah. I mean, now it's huge because,
products.
you know, the small press expos just blew up. And I think with technology and being able to make sophisticated prints fairly easily,
Yeah,
a lot of young people have taken to that, which is amazing. Like, but I walk around the showrooms at those things, and I'm amazed, and I'm also like overwhelmed. I don't know where to start with it. I don't collect that stuff anymore. So, but every
yeah.
once in a while I'll pick something up because it is so beautiful, and I'm like, I don't know who you are, I don't know what you do, but this is incredible.
And a lot of it is just like what the package is. Like
Yeah,
it just looks so cool that you have to get it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Instant Piano looked pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
We
Well,
tried.
the funny thing was, I mean, I don't think we have to tell all the stories tonight, but there's a lot of
That's
stories.
a lot of stories.
But the road to instant piano coming out was pretty long and windy, and in between us actually getting, we'd been working on the book and there was art done, but it wasn't able to come out yet. And so as part of the mini comics thing, we decided to do
That's
a
right.
mini comic version of it, which was called Toy
Toy
Piano.
piano.
And
Right. I hope I
and
still have those.
I've got those,
All
and
right.
so like there's a lot of supplementary
I loves you,
literature.
Maybell.
Yeah, we did mini. That was, I think, my favorite thing that we did was mini comics in mini comics.
Yeah, something
They
called
were
Blondie.
tinier comics in the mini comics.
Yeah, yeah. So the mini comics were like half, 8.5 by 11 folded. So a lot of
Right.
times, maybe there were sometimes they were
Yeah.
smaller, but then we put littler comics inside.
Right. And that
And there's how many toy pianos did we do? 3?
there are five. There's
What?
four.
Wow.
Yeah. There's the fourth one, I guess, is rare because even Sikoriak doesn't remember. But um, I'm
Wow, I don't remember it.
you must be in it. I'll have to dig one up. The cover of that one was a color sketch I had done as a submission to the New Yorker. It was a very Mary Blair style thing with these kids in this in this flower patch.
So it's
Um
not cardstock. It's
it's
like
not
yeah.
it's a heavier glossy paper because it was a full color
Yes.
cover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Right. I
Yeah.
remember
The
that.
first one, Badger did the cover for the first one. I did the cover for the second one, and you did the cover
I
for
did
the
the cover
third
for the
one
third
with the
one.
matzo brie recipe on it.
Oh, really? Oh, I don't.
Yeah,
I remember I drew Groovy Mouse, but I don't remember.
on the side, I don't. I think it's
That's
on the side, like of the cover, almost like a
that's
New Yorker
cool.
style thing. You wrote the recipe for matzo brie.
Oh man, that's one of my
It's genius.
finest moments.
That's right.
That's cool. So I want to talk about
Yeah,
writing. I want to
writing.
talk about two things.
Okay.
Uh, Writing first, and then I want to talk about danger in the dugout.
Oh,
Um, but I had questions about writing. Let me look at my questions.
okay.
I jumped a couple questions. Oh, this is a baby question. This is a stupid question. Oh, you know
Uh,
what? Just
uh,
say something about writing, and then I want to ask
I
you.
like writing. It's delicious.
Yeah, you wanted to be a writer, and
I did.
you got to
I
write.
did. Yeah, I did. I mean, it, I remember our family went on a family vacation. I probably was 9 or 10, maybe even 8. And there was a caricature artist who would go around the restaurant drawing your caricature, right? And he asked what everyone wanted to be. And my brother, I think, said baseball player or something. And I said, I want to be an artist and a writer. And so he actually drew my caricature with like a pen in one hand and like a book in the other hand, which,
Oh, that's kind of funny.
yeah, it's so, I mean, it was always there as part of like my idea of what I wanted to do. But yeah, I always loved writing, and I wrote in my sketchbooks. I was always writing stories also and ideas, and I'm trying to think. I mean, I wrote my own comics, but then I guess at some point, we had a
You
friend
pitched,
named, well, we had a friend named Bronwyn, who took over or
right?
got the job somehow at DC Comics to reimagine
And a
the
barbaric character.
Hanna-Barbera properties for them.
Yeah,
And I think Cartoon Network was just starting or something,
yeah, it would have been early.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And her main idea was to get sort of alternative underground people
Sam
involved in it.
Henderson did some,
So
right?
Sam, yeah, so Sam
Yeah,
did it, and she called me and said, do you like the Hanna-Barbera characters?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And she said, "Who do you like?" I said, "I like the Flintstones." She said, "Okay, you get the Flintstones." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You can write Flintstones comics." And I was like, "Wow, cool." So I'd already been writing for zines and doing music interviews, and
yeah, you were already
I was already
writing. I mean, you
writing,
were
but I hadn't
always
written
writing.
comics professionally before.
Well, you hadn't written.
I'd written my own stuff.
Yeah, you'd written your own stuff. You just hadn't written for the mainstreams.
Right,
I don't
right.
know if I've even. I guess I haven't written for the
Yeah.
mainstreams either.
So,
But
yeah, I mean, okay, so just a quick back step. I another hat that I wear is as a photographer. And when we moved out to LA, I started taking pictures of the bands that I was hanging out with, and that
right,
turned into me shooting for a lot of zines and magazines. And I figured out, because they wouldn't pay you much. I think you got like, 25, $30 for a picture, but you would also get 25 or $30 to write the article. And I was like,
right,
well, I can double my income if I
right.
write the piece too. So I started writing, and oh, I think I did a thing. Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay. So so yeah, I started writing and shooting for all these magazines, and that grew fairly quickly
Yeah. You
into
saw a
a,
lot of shows.
yeah, yeah,
So from
yeah,
my point of view, Robbie got us into a lot of places because he had
yeah,
press pass. So we saw
right.
a lot of shows.
It's true.
And like Robbie always had to be right in front of the stage to be able to shoot,
It's true.
because Juliana Hatfield doesn't come to the Whiskey a Go Go every day. So you had to be there,
Right.
and Evan Dando might be there too. So we're there, and then I'm there, and I'm like, you know, I'm listening to Tony Orlando and Dawn on my headphones, my you know, and I'm watching, you know, some grunge band. We saw Beck for the first time. That was amazing. And
Yeah.
then I'd be trying to avoid, as Robbie's shooting, I'm trying to avoid the pit behind me, you know, because I don't want to mosh. It's not my thing, you know. But that's what we did for like 3 years straight or something.
Yeah,
Well,
many
longer,
years.
longer,
Yeah.
much longer, actually.
It was,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
But
like,
yeah, Robbie, I mean, it is kind of amazing because you've worn a lot of hats. You've been a professional photographer. You're a professional writer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I always felt like on this crazy merry-go, like it was always a handoff because the photo gigs would die down a little, and then I'd get an animation gig, and then that would die, and I'd get a comics
Right.
gig, and they would all kind of circle around and around. And at the same time, I was DJing like every night, so it
Right. Robbie's
was,
a
I don't know how
DJ.
I lived. It
He
was
ran.
crazy.
He had a radio show on
Yeah,
FMU about film.
that's right. Well, yeah,
Um,
we didn't even talk about movies.
we
That's
didn't
for
talk about
next time.
movies. Yeah, I have questions about movies,
Yeah.
but we'll save that for next time. So but
So
one
yeah, so I
before
was writing. I started writing for Hanna-Barbera stuff, and then
well,
yeah,
no, I mean that's actually important for me
yeah,
because you wrote a couple of issues of Dexter's Lab.
right, yeah,
And I'd never worked for Gendy Tartakovsky before that.
oh, that's right.
Gendy knew who I was because you know I knew all the guys on Samurai Jack because they all worked at Ren and Stimpy. But I'd never drawn for Gendy before, and so you did. I did. I don't know if you wrote the first story, Dexter's Lab story I drew, the one where mom loses her gloves.
Yeah,
You wrote
yeah, I
that?
think so.
I drew that okay. I kind of enjoyed that, and you know, on those H&D books, we had the license to just draw however we wanted to draw them for the most part.
Yeah,
You know, Gendy just liked what I did, and then he liked that story. But then you wrote a story called Dexter's Arc, which
right.
was one entire issue. And for whatever reason, I thought, right, I'm going to draw the fuck out of this,
Yeah, you did.
and I was like, I'm going to draw like Gene Hazelton doing Yogi Bear, but like on acid.
Yeah,
And you helped me ink some of that
yeah,
actually.
yeah, yeah. That was a crazy job.
And Gendy fell in love with that
Oh,
story.
that's cool. I didn't know. I don't know if I ever heard that actually.
Yeah. And
That's
it
wild.
was there that like everybody that he usually used as a character designer crapped out on him, and
Yeah.
that's how I got Symbionic Titan.
Wow. There
And
you
then it's
go.
been nonstop since that. But
That's,
Gendy always talks about that. He always talks about like the way that he and I connected was through that comic book
oh,
story.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I loved it. Was really, it was such a, like I said, it was kind of a crash course because Bronwyn didn't last long at that job. And
Right.
then there were a few people who kind of came in, and I was able to sort of swim through the waters for a while. I think our friend Heidi took over for a minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Heidi
I don't
did it for
remember
a
that.
second. And then
But
Duffy, maybe Chris, I can't remember.
all I know, I even forgot Bronwyn. I was just gonna go right to Gene
Yeah.
Hazelton.
Well, so yeah, so then the person that was really instrumental in my growth was Joan Hilty, who became the editor for a long time for all the Cartoon Network and Hanna-Barbera books. And she just taught me so much about writing and economy and pacing and all kinds of stuff. It was really incredible. Like she just has such a good gift for communicating that, you know, clearly and quickly, and because it was a fast paced thing,
Yeah.
and because most, like that one Dexter, every once in a while I would be able to convince them to do a whole issue on a character, but usually they were short stories, and I was trying to make money, so I was pitching every character they had access to, which was a lot. I mean, 20 different properties or something. So I ended up
Yeah.
writing all these different characters and trying to figure out how to be funny in my own voice, but also in the style of that show, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So she
Yeah.
really helped me kind of figure that stuff out, which was cool.
Well, on the subject of writing,
Yeah,
You're one of the best freestyle thinkers.
sometimes.
Sometimes, well, you have these weird bursts of
I have flashes. Yeah,
where, yeah, you get flashes from Mars,
I do.
like where, myself and people around you would be like, where the fuck did that just come from? And one of the best moments ever, I mean, this is the joke one, but
Yeah.
I've actually seen you do it a number of times. But there's a serious question behind this. So Greg Benton and Robbie and I, we were at a convention or something. Where the fuck were
No,
we?
we were at a diner up
We were
near
at a,
his place. Yeah.
really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Robbie wants to make an example of something. We're having a serious conversation. Robbie wants to make an example of something, and he goes, take any sort of idea, an idea for a movie, what it would be. Like, he was a she-male, danger in the dugout, which even now makes me laugh. Danger in the dugout. He was a she-male, danger in the dugout. Greg and I looked at each other. We were like, what the fuck was that? Wait, how did he just pull that out? And we were hysterical, all of us. That wasn't even the point. Robbie wasn't trying to break us up. It's just that Robbie found he got a message from he got an interplanetary message.
I did. Yeah.
So like it's kind of a processy question. Like how do you how do you tune your radio to pick up that frequency?
I mean,
I can't do that.
it's a good question. I think it actually goes back to the beginning of our conversation tonight. I mean, I think I always liked weird stuff. And I think that over the years, I figured out sometimes, I mean, I guess it's kind of a Zen thing, just how to let go of everything and just be open to whatever the hell comes into my head. And it's not like
Yeah.
I'm unfiltered, and it's not like I'm always talking shit.
No,
It's
no,
not
no,
just
no.
crazy stuff, but every once in a while I get struck with inspiration. And it is, I mean, I definitely, as much as I could, would try to filter that stuff in for the writing those comics. It was like
Right, right.
a lot of times, I mean, I guess I've heard, I mean, not I'm no Bob Dylan, but I remember hearing a quote about Dylan where he said he didn't write those songs, they just came through him. And I remember I used to go to Cafe Habana every morning to eat breakfast and write comics because it was
Where's that?
empty. It's a couple blocks from me in Soho.
Oh,
I don't even know if they do breakfast anymore, but this was way, back in the 90s
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and early 2000s. And I would just get into a zone because nobody was around, and I would drink a lot of coffee and just I would hear Fred and Barney talking to each other and just or Scooby Doo or whoever it was. Like I literally heard their voices in conversation. I would just write it down, but I had to work myself into that state to be able to like get the transmission from them.
How did you get to that state? The
I
morning
think it was,
coffee?
yeah, I think it was, I work, I write really well in the morning. I think it was I didn't, I still don't, but I never slept a lot. So I think it was sort of being a little bit tired in a way that kind of made me not put up blockers.
Okay, okay.
So it was just an openness to the ideas and just coming up with shit. And like I said, I was trying to write all these different characters and different styles and still retain some of my own voice, but really it was just like doing so much of it, like working so much and writing all these different ideas at the same time. Because I would write, I'd pitch 5 Dexter ideas, 5 Powerpuff ideas, 5 Camp Lazlo ideas, 5 Flintstone ideas, so like it was just like this constant rotation of thinking, but
Right.
then not having like the worst. I only, I don't think I ever really had writer's block, knock on wood, but
Right.
I think, I think it's one of those things where it's just as a job, you just keep doing it. Like you just write something and it might not be good, and then you go back and you rewrite it, but it
Yeah.
was,
I mean, I think there's two things. I keep hearing about, Nick Cave keeps office hours. It's like Nick Cave has, it's like, he starts writing in the morning and he ends at night, and that's his day. He likes to, he does that every day.
yeah,
Because that's how you do things, is just consistency. So he's not waiting for he's not waiting for inspiration to strike, and not doing anything for weeks. He's going into his wherever
right.
he goes every
Yeah.
day to but then at the same time, sometimes lightning really does strike. And I think, like you said, I mean, I think every artist has had moments like this. It's just that I've seen them overflow with you.
Yeah.
But it's like a Zen thing. It really is. You go someplace else, you become part of some different moment,
Yeah.
and you don't even know it's happening necessarily,
No,
really.
no.
But you just channel something that you just didn't expect you were going to do. And
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen you do that a few
Yeah.
times,
I,
which is
I
pretty
mean, I think
cool.
it's true. And it's, I wish I could control it. I wish I could make it happen, but I think as long as you just keep yourself open and, I mean, you're like a lightning rod, right? You're just
Right,
you stick your finger up and hopefully something hits it and it's
right.
interesting. And sometimes it is, sometimes
Yeah,
it's
it's
not.
always interesting when it hits your finger.
Right. It's a finger.
It's the finger.
A finger.
And that's another thing that reminds me. So Robbie, he's been a writer, he's been an artist, a cartoonist, he's been an animator, he's been a DJ, both in the clubs and on radio. He's been a photographer. He's made movies.
I made movies.
He's made movies. We'll talk about movies
Next
some
time.
next
Yeah.
time.
Stay
We talked
tuned.
a long time, but
Yeah.
what was I gonna say? I had something I wanted to say.
I did all the things.
You did all the things. No, but and now you, from record collector to record store owner,
That's true.
you should plug your store because
Oh, I'll
everybody
plug
in the
it.
world is gonna see this.
Yay. I have a record store in Fort Greene, Brooklyn
What's
called
it called?
Buzzed Monkey Records.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And
called Buzz.
if you
Yeah.
think you're going into a barber shop, it's because you are.
Right. It's tiny, tiny little space that I share with a barber shop called Persons of Interest.
It's not that
And
tiny.
my space, well,
It's
it's small.
little, it's
It's
petite, but
little.
it's well
Yeah.
stocked.
Yeah, it's well stocked. I
Yeah,
mean, I really love it. Fort Greene is such a beautiful, cool neighborhood, and it's right near
that's right.
Pratt, where I went to college. So
Right.
I've been in that neighborhood for a long time, and yeah, it's great. So yeah, I mean, I started as a working DJ. I accumulated a lot of records over the years, which Stephen has been witness to
I
sometimes.
can attest to that. I've
Yeah,
seen them.
yeah, and over the years, I started selling them or trading them just to get new shit. And then after a long time, I started dealing them more. I guess when eBay started, I pretty much right from the beginning of eBay, I was selling a few things here and there, but that
Right.
kind of took over as my main income source.
Right.
And doing live shows like conventions where I'd set up and sell records,
Right.
and then that
So
eventually
that
led to getting a store, like a physical
so
space.
that someday your roof might also cave in, and then you could send some
From
20
your
20
mouth.
something dipshits in to pull out records to buy for $100.
If only they were that lucky.
They should
They
only
should
be
they should only be so lucky.
so lucky.
Yeah.
Right. All
That's
right.
me. I did things. You did things too.
We
Next
did
time we talk about
things.
you.
Well, we should talk about movies. I wanted to ask you about movies, but
Yeah.
I kind of asked you, there's a similar question about comics and stuff, but yeah, Robbie's also got amazing taste in movies. So, all right, we'll talk again. But I wanted to, yeah, we've known each other a long time, and
Long time.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
and you know, we have
I
good
knew
good
I knew
stories.
you I knew you when I had hair.
I used to have
Right?
loaf. We all had
And
loaf hair.
we had
No,
loafy hair. I have so
no.
many pictures of Steven with our cats and our dogs and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Robbie didn't have loaf hair. Robbie had hair down to his
onto my keister.
keister. But
Yeah.
that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next time we'll talk.
Adios, amigo.
Wait, I'll stop recording.
You stop. I press the button.
How do
Press
you
the
do that?
button. Press the button.
Stop.
Stop. Bye.
Okay, bye.